Thank you to the organizers of the conference. It was really wonderful. My name is Lily Riles. I'm in charge of the Financial and Economic History collection at Deutsches Historisches Museum. I'm also a curator for the new permanent exhibition and curator of the ongoing exhibition Roads Not Taken, and also the museum's open data coordinator. So this has been really a luxury to devote myself only to numismatics the last day. I would like to present to you today a collection at the museum that can best, and let me say only, be fully understood and valued through collaboration. I'm talking about researching Wolfgang Harney collection. Those are approximately 15,000 objects from the mid-19th century to present. They are housed at the museum since 2020. It is an important task, since the collection focuses on the history of anti-Semitism in Germany and Europe, the history of Nazi persecution, and the Holocaust and the culture of remembrance after 1945. Amongst a very diverse group of materials, the collection includes emergency money with anti-Semitic pictures and imprints, as well as token money and all kinds of objects that document money transaction from concentration camps and ghettos. That will be my focus today. So the numismatic objects of this collection cover the full range of money or money-like objects which document the Holocaust. For example, those from the earliest concentration camps, such as Oranienburg near Berlin, as early as 1933, but also much later objects, such as reward vouchers from the concentration camps here, Auschwitz, where it was given out from May 1943 on to prisoners as an incentive to work harder to support the war effort. As for the ghettos, here you have an example of Litzmannstadt, Łódź. This worked differently. The ghettos were to work under self-governance, and the administrative apparatus who dealt with German authorities was also in charge of supplies and money aspects of daily life. There was created a ghetto currency in order to pull out all the money that was still left in the ghetto when it was created. Wolfgang Harney wished for his collection to have an impact. In fact, it was not a self-centered collection of a collector. On the contrary, the objects were from the beginning collected for collaboration, to educate and to exhibit it. The most striking example, and one of the biggest impacts of a collection, was the winning of the trial of former residents of ghettos against the German pension fund after 2002. This ghetto money from Litzmannstadt and also Theresienstadt were at the center of this. Before coming here, I interviewed the author of the book Das Geld des Terrors because it was at the center. It had catalogued and researched all the token money from the collection, and the reasoning of the victims' lawyers was partly based on the book. Wolfgang Harney wished for his collection to have an impact on civil society. Here's a map which gives you an impression of all the exhibitions in Germany and abroad. The collection has been shown before, even before coming to Deutsches Historisches Museum. The map has been given to me by Wiebke Hölzer, who has worked and published on Harney as a phenomenon and as a collector. What is interesting, he was a numismatic first. For example, he was member of the Numismatic Society of Berlin, president of Berliner Münzfreunde, and had a numismatic collection himself. And after he discovered money from concentration camps in the 1980s, his direction of interest changed dramatically. At first, he wanted to stick to money and his original focus, but then got drawn to a much broader angle with an intensive collecting activity on all kinds of anti-Semitic objects and sources. That brings me to yet more added value through cross-organizational collaboration. The first collaboration after the collection came to our museum was a conditional one, in some way a forced collaboration for the purchase of the collection by the Commissioner of Culture and Media. That is the state authority in Germany that fully finances and is in charge of Deutsches Historisches Museum. So they supported the purchase with a large sum, but because the collection includes personal data, for example, this letter that you can see on the corner from the camp of Sachsenhausen in 1942, it was forbidden to actually buy this part of the collection. So it's not owned by the Deutsches Historisches Museum, but this part is via a collaboration contract now at the Arolsen Archives being researched there. There are about 1,000 documents which contain personal references from the collection, and the archives are digitizing and researching and will provide the museum with a digital copy only. So after the museum purchased the collection in 2020, three main aspects have been very important for us and all have to do with collaboration. How can we further develop collaborative research on the collection? That was the first main point. And a first project which brought together researchers and museum experts has already been concluded. Between 2021 and 23, a collaborative project between the Center for Research on Antisemitism of the Technical University of Berlin and Deutsches Historisches Museum took place. Two projects have been researched, one by Wiebke Hölzer, as I said, Wolfgang Hanay as a collector, so his strategies, his systems, his network, and the other was researched by Silvia Kages. She spoke this morning on different antisemitica with a particular focus on everyday objects. So Silvia is, as you know, one of the experts on antisemitism and money, and she had known Hanay before actually before he died. She had known him personally and also the collection. So she had also looked at the structure of the collection and percentages, for example, of numismatics as opposed to the rest of the material. The project was headed by Professor Uffe Jensen of the Center for Research on Antisemitism and had led to several publications and articles. There was also a workshop on antisemitica and a public panel discussion, and we are still looking at this collection as how to exhibit it in our new permanent exhibition. So the second point, after more specialized research to document the use of these objects, concerns the accessibility of these sensitive objects. This is a challenge for us. Wolfgang Hanay himself did have his own sorting order, for example, by regions with folders, but an overriding structure was missing. So the objects are now classified in groups that go along with the collection. For example, it means also that we look into the history and context of fake token currency, with Hanay explicitly bought for his collection. Normally we would not buy fake money. So the next collaborative step is to look at comparable objects in other museums. So if you do have objects like these in your collections, please approach me. Accessibility of the objects is a major issue for us, of course, as many of you we have heard yesterday and today. This is about putting all the relevant questions and information online, but also physically. Who has access to the storage? How can we grant access to the sensitive material? And since the new e-governance law, we are actually legally bound to show research data online, which may also include sensitive material. As it happens, I'm also the open data coordinator since a few months, so I will have to work on dealing with ways and strategies to deal with sensitive data online. And that brings me to the last question, and that is how we can develop our exhibition practices. Yet with another collaboration, that's with our office, our curatorial dialogue with our exhibition designer, Atelier Brückner, for our new permanent exhibition. How can we deal with a historically enlightened display without reproducing stereotypes, for example, but still understand the mechanisms and visual power of them, and without hurting the feelings of our public, but still educating? Thank you very much.
So, hello everyone, and I'm very happy to be here today. Thanks to Cecilia and her staff and everybody at the Ekonomiska Museet for this fantastic arrangements and this nice milieu that we have here. My intention is to speak about money museums in the context of central banking. I myself work as a senior communications officer at the Bank of Finland, but I have also with press communications, but I have also been involved in our money museum affairs, and I'm a former journalist with special interest in European Union issues. So that is my background. I will put the Bank of Finland museum especially in a European Union context, and then tell you something about the details of our museum activities and what we are doing there, and also try to discuss cross-organizational collaborations before coming to my concluding remarks and discussion at the end. It's fairly common in the European Union to have money museums, and the reason why we are looking at the European Union and at the euro system specifically is that we have this common currency. And when I speak about the euro system, it's by definition the European Central Bank and the national central banks in the EU countries with the euro as their currency. So we have kind of a special relationship with for instance, with the Deutsche Bundesbank and the central banks from with the countries with the euro, and of course also in EU with Sweden and Denmark and other countries, although you have chosen not to adopt the euro as your currency. And the main reason that we have this cooperation, cross-border cooperation in the European Union, in the eurozone, in the euro system, is of course that when we have this common currency, we are in a sense forced to have we have a shared currency. All the decisions are taken on a central level in Frankfurt by the governing council of the European Central Bank, where all the heads of the central banks are represented. And the focus typically in these money museums in the European Union or the Eurosystem central banks are on the euro and on the history of money. And let me say some words about the Bank of Finland Museum as an example. We define ourselves as being Finland's monetary authority and a member of the Eurosystem. And when the museum was opened back in 2003, I just took some quotes from our annual report where we kind of motivated why we had opened this museum. It was said that we gave extensive information on our activities and also participated in the growing communication activities of the Eurosystem. And with the opening of the Bank of Finland Museum, we approached the general public in particular. And this is important because traditionally central banks have been rather secretive in their actions. Nowadays it has changed, it's more transparent and open. And it's a question also about trust. And it was designed back then to inform the general public on issues of monetary policy and central banking, as well as to provide a historical overview of monetary systems and Finnish banknotes and coins. So the focus was on the core functions of this new European entity. And we look at the roles of the Bank of Finland Museum. We first of all, it's called in English, the Bank of Finland Museum. In strictly speaking, it's in Finnish and Swedish. It's Myntmuseum or Rahamuseo, but in English it's just the museum. So it's a museum with a small numismatic collection that we don't show very much to anyone. I think Petteri and Frida have seen it, but not very many other people. And nowadays the Bank of Finland Museum is also a financial literacy center, and it is also seen as the visitor center for the central bank. And when it comes to internal organization, it's part of the communications unit, which in turn is part of the general secretariat of the bank, which is overseen by the governor. So we are very much in the core of the central bank. We cooperate internationally in the EU, as I said, in ICOMON, for instance, and on the national level with different stakeholders. Maybe not so much with the National Museum as maybe I would like to, but still we are a museum with a focus on economy and money. In the financial literacy field, there is also a lot of European and international cooperation, as you can see in this slide. And when it comes to the national strategy for financial literacy, it is coordinated by the Ministry of Justice, but the Bank of Finland Museum is the hub for information activities and networking. We have program activities in the museum where we also cooperate with a wide spectrum of partners, including publishing houses, universities, etc. And we used to have seasonal temporary exhibitions, but with different stakeholders, but it was discontinued due to space limitation and when we refocused ourselves on financial literacy. So when I prepared this presentation, I was doing the work myself in trying to tell you the story that the Bank of Finland Museum, and I think very many other museums also are in the central banking context. They are linked to the core functions, or in our case, of the Bank of Finland, at this both on the national and on the international level. And I had some interesting discussions here also about non-European countries, and I think you have the same issues in Pakistan and in Mexico and in the Philippines and everywhere. That how do you put the money museum in the context? Where is it organizationally situated? And it is I think to have. When you have a central bank, you also always have to think how you use your money, and how you motivate your existence, and to have this role as building trust in the currency, in the central bank, in a functioning payment system, and in financial stability. It is very important. And this means, I mean, we want to, as I write here, we want to promote trust in our institution and in the euro system and in the currency itself. And I think our interest in cross-organization collaboration is in a sense a little bit dependent on how well it serves these core functions. And we just, and I think it's a little bit a problem with numismatic, for instance, that it can feel pure numismatics, like from the Viking Age or whatever. It's a little bit difficult to see it in the core context of what central banking and running a currency is nowadays. Promoting financial literacy is a different matter because it's rather close to the core, because if you want to have a sound financial system and financial stability, then it's important that people don't get carried away with different crypto schemes or pyramid games, etc. History is, I think, always present in a central bank museum, and it is to understand in our case why we have the euro as our currency. We can also go back in history. We can go back to the 19th century, to the gold standard, to the silver standard, and see how the currencies were used. There was, in a sense, a common currency already some 150 years ago when we had the gold standard. And numismatics and art, for instance, is added value, but not really part of the core of central banking museum activities. And I look very much forward to more discussions after this. Thank you very much.
Dear colleagues, ärade kollegor. I am Petteri Järvi and I'm working at the moment as an acting director of Turku Museum Center, which is the museum of city of Turku. Turku is the oldest town in Finland and it was founded in the 13th century. It was the most important town in Finland until the beginning of the 19th century, and it is also the former capital of Finland. Turku Museum Center was founded in 1881, and it is one of the oldest museums in Finland. During the first decades, all the museum activities took place only in Turku Castle. Nowadays, Turku Museum Center consists of 6 different museums, namely, you can see them over here. So it's Turku Biological Museum, Kylämäki Village Museum, Luostarinmäki Museum Quarter. Then we have a Pharmacy Museum and the Kventsel House, VAM Turku City Art Museum, and Turku Castle. In this short speech, I will concentrate only on Turku Castle, since that's the only museum where we have a special numismatic exhibition. The first museum exhibition in Turku Castle was opened already in 1885. And the first numismatic exhibition was opened as early as 1891. Ever since there has been a numismatic exhibition in Turku Castle, though there have been short periods when our numismatic exhibition or coin and medal cabinet has been closed for the public. Our present coin and medal cabinet was opened in 1998, and it has 3 rooms. In the first room, there are coins that have been used in Finland since the prehistoric era to the modern time. There are also in the same room some Swedish plate money from the 17th and 18th century, which you can see over here in this exhibition that you have here in Stockholm. And there are some banknotes and some credit cards and debit cards. In the second room, there are different kind of medal that has a connection to the history of Finland and especially to the history of Turku and its surroundings. In the third room, there is a comprehensive exhibition where all the official decorations of the Orders of Finland can be seen. Today, Turku Castle Coin and Medal Cabinet is the most comprehensive numismatic exhibition in Finland, where the visitor can see money, medals, and decorations and badges. The main subset of my speech is to tell about the collaboration between Turku Museum Center and the Finnish Numismatic Society. In this point, I think it's good to mention that I have had a double role in this cooperation. I have worked as a curator, head of department, and now as an acting director of Turku Museum Center for altogether over 16 years. Besides, I have also been the chairman of the board of the Finnish Numismatic Society between 2013 to 2020. Suomen numismaattinen yhdistys, or the Finnish Numismatic Society, is the oldest numismatic society in Finland. It was founded in 1914 in Finland's capital Helsinki. It's not anymore Turku, unfortunately. And in the beginning, the society consisted of a little group of the Swedish-speaking gentlemen who were mainly interested in minting and collecting medals. Therefore, I have chosen this picture here to show the first medal made by the Finnish Numismatic Society. And you can see here a well-known figure in Sweden and Finland, namely the numismatist and heraldist Elias Brenner. The medal was printed to commemorate Brenner's death, the 200th anniversary in 1917. Nowadays, the society has many kinds of activities and over 1,200 members. Most of the activities take place in Helsinki and its surroundings. The society also supports numismatic research, And therefore, it is not surprising that from the very beginning, the Finnish Numismatic Society has had a collaboration with museums. The most important museum partner for the society has been the National Museum in Finland, which is also in Helsinki. But there have also been connections to Turku already before I became the chairman of the board. So it is not just for me the reason why we have cooperation. So what kind of collaboration has Turku Museum Center then had with Finnish Numismatic Society? Firstly, we have utilized the knowledge that non-professional numismatists can provide. In Finland, there are only few professional numismatists working at the museum. But at the same time, almost every museum has numismatic objects in their collections. Quite often, museums need specialized experts who can, for example, identify rare coins and medals, and this kind of cooperation has worked well in our museum in Turku. Non-professional experts can furthermore assist museums by participating in activities concerning exhibitions and events. In Turku, we have organized events together with the Finnish Numismatic Society. For example, 2014 was the 100th anniversary year of the Finnish Numismatic Society. In December 2014, we had an event, Vanhan päivä, or the Old Money's Day in Turku Castle, where there was a lot of different kind of activities for our visitors. The latest joint event was held at last December in Turku Castle, picture over here, and it was in Turku Castle's coin and medal cabinet. The event was organized by the Finnish Numismatic Society, and the theme was Finland's decorations and orders and their history. The event was for the members of the Finnish Numismatic Society, but it was open for all the visitors of Turku Castle. My last case is about publishing activities. There is one special group of coins that connects Sweden and Finland. Finland became a part of Sweden from the 12th century, and Finland was a part of Sweden until the beginning of the 19th century. Because Finland was a part of Sweden, we had the same monetary system and same money in Finland. In Sweden, there were many places where money was minted during the Middle Ages, but in Finland, the only place where money was minted during the Middle Ages was Turku. The minting was started in the beginning of the 15th century, during the reign of Eric of Pomerania. Money was minted in Turku also by Christopher of Bavaria, Karl Knutsson Bunde, or Charles VIII, and Gustav Vasa. The last minting year in Turku was 1558. We don't know the exact place of the mint of Turku, but we can be quite sure that it was in Turku Castle. Many of the coins minted in Turku are very rare, and they interest both professional and non-professional numismatists in Finland and in Sweden. Therefore, it was surprising that the only comprehensive presentation about the money of Turku was Maurits Hallberg's classical publication Några anteckningar om Åbomynten, or some notes about Turku money, which was published already in 1919. Therefore, the Finnish Numismatic Society started discussions with Svenska Numismatiska Föreningen, or Swedish Numismatic Society, about the modern and comprehensive monograph which would tell comprehensively about medieval coin minting in Turku. The Numismatic Societies negotiated with Turku Museum Center, which of course also was interested about publishing a book about the medieval minting in Turku. We had an excellent collaboration, and here you can see its fruit. The book, let's see, it is on the right side, this way. The book, Keskiaikaiset hopearahat, rahalöinti Turun linnassa, medeltida silvermynt, myntning of Åbo slot, was published in November 2022 in Turku Castle. It is a comprehensive monograph written by one professional numismatist from Estonia, 3 professional and 1 non-professional numismatist from Finland, and 2 non-professional numismatists from Sweden. With this fine example of collaboration between a museum and numismatic associations, I will end my lecture. Thank you.
First, I want to say that I'm very happy to see so many colleagues here gathered in Stockholm for this event. The next 10 minutes, I'm going to tell you about a fruitful collaboration between the Royal Coin Cabinet and the Royal Swedish Academy of Agriculture and Forestry. In 2011, the Royal Swedish Academy of Agriculture and Forestry presented a book project to the Royal Coin Cabinet. The book was to be about the medals, rewards, and history of organizations associated with the Academy, the so-called green industries, underlining the importance that they had played from the middle of the 18th century and still plays for the development in their fields. The planned recipients were students at the Swedish universities, agricultural scientists, the academic associations, numismatics, and an interested public. The Royal Coin Cabinet collection holds a lot of these medals, and wanting to take the opportunity to broaden and deepen the knowledge of them, the Royal Coin Cabinet accepted the proposal. First, what is the Royal Swedish Academy of Agriculture and Forestry? And what is the green industries? The Academy was established in 1811 and installed in 1813 at the initiative of Crown Prince Carl Johan, later King Carl XIV Johan. The Academy is a free, independent organization that today works with issues of agriculture, horticulture, food, forest and forest productions, fishing, aquaculture, the environment, and natural resources. The Academy's mission has changed and expanded over time, but the basis has been the same: to promote agriculture and forestry and related activities for the benefit of society with the support of science and practical experience. Secondly, which type of medals do the green industries have? Like in other fields, the medals are reward medals and commemorative medals. The first medal awarded for accomplishment in this field was King Adolf Fredrik's medal for commendable female spinning craft in 1751. The medal was also Sweden's first medal that was awarded to ordinary people. After that, many medals followed, instituted by associations and societies. Among them, the Agriculture Society's medals, first awarded for agriculture achievements, later for promotion of livestock breeding. Most of the medals have been awarded for outstanding achievements, for daring to use new methods and spreading knowledge of them. They have also been awarded for a long and faithful service within the organizations and industry. Others have been awarded to boards and employees in connection with company anniversaries and other various events. Most of the medals have belonged to the period 1850 to 1950, but many are still awarded to well-deserving recipients. A project like this needs more than 2 partners. Therefore, more were linked to the project, all with different tasks and responsibilities. But let me start by introducing the project manager and the hero of this project, Kjell Danell, Professor Emeritus in Wildlife Ecology at the Faculty of Forest Sciences at the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences in Umeå. He is also a fellow of the Academy. Followed by curators at the Royal Coin Cabinet, together with the renowned photographer Gabriel Hildebrand. Field experts in medals and in the green industries, where at least one of the medal experts is present here today, Bo Gustafsson. We also have the laureates that generously lent their medals to us so they could be photographed for the book, for even if we have a lot of them, we don't have all of them. We also had a talented graphic designer, Lars Paulsrud, who was connected to the project. And last but not least, 7 foundations and 1 society that together helped finance the publication of the book. Among them, the 2 Swedish foundations, Gunnar Ekström's Foundation for Numismatic Research and Sven Svensson's Foundation for Numismatics. Making the book turned out to be a Herculean task. The estimated 500 medals grew to more than 850 medals, made by more than 80 medal artists for about 250 organizations, each and everyone demanding their description and history presented. This together with the history and development of over 30 green industries. For several reasons, the work of the book became a protracted process where intensive work was interspersed with periods of low-intensity work. But throughout the course of the project, there was a good atmosphere, perseverance, a fine cooperation where we never lost track or hope for reaching our mutual goal. During this period, the museum changed both location from Gamla stan to here, and its name from the Royal Coin Cabinets, Sweden's Economical Museum, to the Economy Museum, the Royal Coin Cabinet. And more interesting for this speech, one book became two books, where the first book in detail describes the history and development of the green industries, and the second book, I do like Petteri. This one go into detail of the rewards and the remembrances of the green industries. So, what's the harvest? Since 2022, we have two books with a gathered knowledge of the green industries and their metals history. We are now able to present how the development within the green industries have affected and have been affected by individuals, companies, societies, academies, and politics, and how the metals have contributed to spurring more efficient methods and improved conditions for a better economy for the whole country. Knowledge that the museum made use of in the new exhibition, which you have seen and can see. And lastly, a new strong thread has been spun in our ever-expanding network. So, thank you again, the Royal Swedish Academy of Agriculture and Forestry, for proposing. And thank you all for the attention.